How's it going, guys? Zolix here, and welcome to Dauntless. I know it's been a while since I last uploaded, and well, a lot has happened and changed. I'll get into that in another video, but for now, today, I'll be going through guiding you on different roles each weapon plays in Dauntless. Without further ado, let's get started. Firstly, I'm going to start off with the sword. The sword is so-called the middleman. It works in such a fantastic way, it's all around, anyone can get used to it and it works perfectly fine. In this case, in Dauntless cases or in any other type of game, it is a DPS, a strong DPS. Of course, every weapon in Dauntless is a DPS, but what I'm trying to say is like, it has consistent damage. So if you're ever using the sword, you should not worry about much, as the sword can play every single role. It can stagger, it can wound, and it can stagger, it can wound, it can do damage, etc. You know. So if you're playing the sword, you want to prioritize on trying to do the best you can. Because no matter what you do, you can fill for any spot. If you're lacking a high DPS like an axe, yeah, you're there, your sword. If you're lacking burst, you can cover up a bit. If you're lacking pierce damage, you can cover up a bit, but not exactly too well. But the sword is all around and it's very familiar with a lot of people, which is making it so nice and so easy to do. You should never underestimate the sword, as it is maybe easy as well, but again, it requires a lot of skill to hone and keep a handle of. So in general, if you're playing the sword, keep in mind that you are the general middleman. No, not the middleman that changes cells. The middleman in the form of DPS, consistency, damage uptime, stagger uptime, breaking parts. You're just up there with all the uptime. On the next hand, we'll be talking about the axe. The axe functions in such a fantastic way. The axe is very high DPS, tank sort of a way. The reason I say tank is due to the fact that it allows you to put in a protective spell, which in most cases you can put it as max health or whatever you want. Unlike the sword, the axe is a lot more slower and requires a lot more skill than the sword. Preferably in my opinion, the axe seems to be one of the hardest weapons in the game to completely master and to use in every single situation. Well, that's my opinion. It's different. The axe is very high potential, short burst, like single damage burst of DPS. High damage, single hits, very outstanding. If you're playing an axe, you should always prioritize on focusing on a single part and doing as much part damage as you can, especially the tail, since it's a slash weapon with high potential damage. Hitting it with an ultimate and stacking attack buffs can range from a lot of damage, from 1k, 3k, 4k. And good thing they patched it, because before it was doing 10k and that was really crazy. If you're an axe user, you don't want to be too close to anything. You want to be close up, but in this case, you want to have stamina to back up, as axe uses a lot of stamina. You have to remember that if you're focused on any part, make sure you don't have necessary aggro on you, unless, I mean, you're a pro. In my opinion, I hate to have aggro with axe. I am absolutely bad with it. But on the other hand, we'll be jumping into the chain blades. The chain blades, in the community for the longest time now, a lot of people seem to hate the chain blades. And this fact, I find it that chain blades are not entirely all that bad. People say that when you first use the chain blade, that you're pretty trash with your chain blades. But in my opinion, I find chain blades to be very agile. You are the how do I put it? You are the marksman. You are the hunter. You are the scout. Yeah, that's a definite good word. As soon as the hunt starts, you have the quickest mobility around the map. Although you can also just use the chain blades just to go around the map and pick up all the materials. You do is tumble being a dash, whatever you may call it, which is very quick. And if you have a stamina build, you can keep spamming it on and on. As a chain blade user, your role is very indefinite, depends on what your team is carrying. As a chain blade user, you can do very short bursts of DPS with its continuous hold of the chain spin. Again, it has long range and not very high damage with most of its hits. Most of its hits do like 35, 45 damage depending on how you turn on the behemoth element or what level your weapon is. So it does pretty low damage, but again, it can attack very rapidly. So it's all about keeping agile. If you are a chain blade user, you want to make sure you shouldn't actually take much damage due to its charge bar being backflips and charging forward. You have so much ability, you should take least amount of damage in a team, and if worse comes to worse, you should be able to carry. It might take you a bit longer though, but again, you have that dead fast and never down medals. I mean, come on, at least get 2 gold to make up for the terrible damage you do compared to like something else. And we'll be jumping into Warpike, one of my fan favorites. And firstly, I love the Warpike in such a way. But the Warpike, in general, is a piercing item, and in most cases, you will be doing wound damage for the most part. Very essential to a team's composition. If you're playing very team-based, as in you're trying to farm parts, the pike is for you in a team. If you have high DPS, it is very much appreciated to have a pike, as wound damage doubles, multiplies the damage done to parts, which is amazing for high DPS out slashing parts. So it's easy to farm parts with a pike. If you're a pike user, you would have long range and close range options, although the long range option is very short due to the fact that you have to only 3 charges. Again, if you can play very well around it, you can interrupt behemoths easily with your pike, defend on the behemoth, and you can do a lot of wound damage. Personally, in my opinion, wound damage is not full meta yet. It's not exactly the best. I feel as if wound damage should do like a damage over time, like effect, it hurts the behemoth over time, so no matter where they go, you're doing damage consistently over time. It's a wound, they're bleeding out. Oh, adders coming out on his blood, but you get the point. Pike users, very fun, agile. They've updated as well, so you have a very nice tumble ability as you're doing Harvester, which is, again, if you're gone used to the old way of using a pike, it's kind of not big of a difference to you, but if you have not, it's a big difference, and I find it very helpful in most situations that you can easily adder up and gain some charge and just back out, tumble out, and start losing it from getting hit. You should prioritize on doing wound damage as much as possible to help the team break certain parts and whatnot. On the other hand, next up is coming up the Austrian Repeaters, the new weapon that came out to Dauntless. I personally love these weapons. I don't call my main, but I love these weapons due to the fact that they have high burst damage with the Q. No, the right click rather. Depends on whatever you're going for. They have high burst damage and can, depending on the barrel you choose, can do amount of good things for you in battle. They can break parts very nicely. A lot of people seem to not like these because they seem to do a lot of damage before the team can break enough parts. But again, it depends on how you play the Repeater. The Repeaters gives you an option to choose from either being more of a supportive role by choosing Marksman, choose a part you want to destroy with your team and your team aims on that part, or you can go to this Ballistic and just be your lone soldier and just do as much damage as you can by yourself. As well, you can also choose the Commander's buff, which is also very helpful for the team, and you can do so as you please. The guns are very, I'll say, DPS. They are high DPS, not as high as well, I think they're up there with the axe. To be fair, they're kind of OP, but hey, everyone loves range weapons. I don't have footage for the hammer as I am terrible. I'm absolutely bad with the hammer, truth be told. I'm not a big fan of it. It is very useful and crucial though in keeping stagger up. Of course, the sword can do this as well, depends on your build. But if you have a hammer and knockout tank build, you can always stagger the behemoth and give your team enough ample time to damage and DPS and break parts as they please, and to keep up stacking up that stagger. Because if they should break a part during a stagger, the stagger actually resets in the form that you can get another stagger off on it if he has the white stuff over his head. Knock him out. The hammer is very versatile. I can't say much about it, so I do apologize if any of you are a master hammer are very good at hammer. I'd like for your opinions in the bottom of the comments below. It helps out a lot, as I'm not the best. I'm trying to learn it though, and the footage I had for it was pretty bad. If you're a hammer, you should focus on not only DPSing its mid-range DPS, but also supporting the team by giving them open windows to build damage, especially with a lot of mobile behemoths. This covers all the weapons currently in Dauntless. Now, the reason why I want to do this video is because more and more often I seem to see people will play and they use a certain weapon for the wrong purpose, or they don't seem to not do it for purpose. I haven't seen much videos covering this. There are videos giving tips and tricks about these weapons, but not specifically what their role is. In any game, you have a role. You're going to be a DPS, you're going to be flanking, you're going to be a tank, you're going to be a support. Now, there's not all these options in Dauntless, as there's no support, more or less. There's only a buffer in that sense. Or, I mean, because your potions, your lanterns, your pots do the support for you. If you have a pylon, healing pylon, put it down. Shielding pylon, do that, pull it down. There's no healing class, no healing weapon, or whatever you may call it. That might be added, depends. There's no tank necessarily. you can incorporate that into your build with cells, which makes it a very nice option so you can mix and match. A flanker, well, there's nothing like flanking in this game. Everyone simply does DPS. But the type of DPS really matters and what you're trying to achieve in fighting a behemoth. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's been a while. I will explain why I've been gone, like I said in the beginning, in another video. But again, if you liked the video, if you found it helpful, again, please give some, if you have some advice or whatnot, if you have your own opinion. This is my opinion. You can leave down in the comments below. I'll make sure we reply to you. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe and keep up for more Dauntless content coming up from me. Hope see you guys next time. Peace out.